All right, it is another edition of the Easton Community Podcast. Last time we had Amal Easton on, and we had some really fun stories. Just kind of kick the year off. Today we have Kyle Wright, who has been part of Easton for quite some time. I heard about Kyle Wright, I think before he trained with us, but he was training somewhere else. He was an MMA fighter. And Ian Lieberman met him at a game workshop or a game hobby shop, I guess, because Ian Lieberman was really into painting Warhammer characters at the time. And he used to tell me, he's like, I met this guy, Kyle, and man, watching him handle all levels of people at this shop was incredible. It didn't matter. You see some interesting characters that come into game shops, right? And Kyle would, even for me, right? I'm a dad now, and I want to help teach my kids some of these stuff, but I'm always insecure about going in there because I'm going to get judged. Like, you're not nerdy enough to be like us. So, but I heard Kyle was always really welcoming and kind to everybody that came in here. That was my first intro to Kyle. And then he started training at Denver, trained a bunch there, then became a department head and did an incredible job and took over our Easton Arvada location probably last year. And he's also a massive part of our jiu-jitsu competition team. So he's one of our black belts. It's a huge addition to the team. And this is the first time we've had him on here. And welcome to the podcast, Kyle.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, man. Stoked to make it in.
Sorry it took so long.
Let's go.
I forget to do these things, and then I fall off, and I'm not really good at this stuff. Anyway, man, so that is the intro. So Kyle, tell me how you doing, man?
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. It's the hobby shop thing, not being nerdy enough. We had a bit of a reputation of the whole shop not being nerdy enough. It actually got to the point where the stereotyped crowd kind of stopped coming to see me because it was nothing but athletes and blue collar guys in there for a while. So yeah, by all means, man, stop in. Anybody listening, it's never too early, too late to get nerdy. So this one's in Glendale, Colorado, Mississippi, right at that big Hyatt in the Denver area. I met Ian there. I moved to Denver in 2017. I met Ian there in 2016. Former Easton member actually used to run it, and then that's how Ian and I got connected. So it just made sense when I came out to Denver in 2017. I just knew where I was headed.
Got it. And you used to GM that shop, right? Yep.
Yeah, the hobby shop. I did.
I wonder if Ian will ever get back into painting his character. He's really into guitar right now, so we'll see. Did you paint characters a lot too? Or?
Cyclical. I did, man. I was actually rewatching the Lord of the Rings movie. Started like last weekend, and I started because I was like painting Lord of the Rings characters as a kid, like in 2001 when the movie came out. So I'm about 25 years deep into it. I haven't done it in a few weeks. I've just been a little busy in the new year, but I try to make it like part of my morning routine. Like do 30 minutes. It's like cool and meditative. Do a little dog walk, little workout, little painting, and get the day started. So for me, it's like part of my morning meditation, to be honest.
That you could show us on camera real quick.
Oh man, I do in the next room. We'll have to
go get it. It's okay. Just grab us one. I really want to see this.
All right, give me. 30 seconds.
I don't know. He's gone for a second, but I think what people can do with these paintings blows my mind. Like the way they take colors and mix them together and then bring these characters to life is incredible. I know this is a jiu-jitsu and Easton podcast, but
yeah, this is exactly what people are tuning in for, right? Yeah. So let's see. This was, God, do I have the year on it? Entry 185. I believe this was 2011. Gen Con is the name of the event in Indianapolis. It's won silver.
Really still. Oh, wow. So, what character? What is that from?
So it's a little bit of custom work, to be honest. The base of it is the same, but I like to try to make things asymmetrical but symmetrical, right? So we've got like the antlers on one side but not the other, the stuff. And I don't know, for me, anything that's not hypersymmetrical kind of works out, and try to make it that way. So it doesn't have a name. It's not say again. So yeah, a lot of it was straight out, like, somebody else's work, but this whole, like the head, helmet, and obviously the whole base, this is just a piece of 2x2, that I've blacked out. And then the scenery is honestly the part, like these dried leaves are actually birch seeds. So I'm always like walking trails and stuff, trying to figure out what can look, this tree here, at this scale, it looks like a tree, but it's just a end of like some flimsy little branch. So I'm always trying to keep an eye out, see how I can make more like sceneries, landscapes, things like that. A lot of people play board games and stuff with it. And I'll donate whatever I make for board games. I don't care. I'm more into the art
This
side
is
of it.
what this is for. That is incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
25 years
I
deep
don't
I've
know.
been
For me,
doing
it
this.
blows my mind. Like I try to draw occasionally with my kids and do stuff, and then I see the depth of
Yeah.
it. That like what it. I don't even know what it takes, right? But to see like finding ways to make the shading and bring like because when you look at the original piece, like what it actually looks like when you find it. I don't know if anybody ever seen that. Do you have any Blake ones available right now?
I mean, I could grab another one, but think just like
Just
model
a
cars. If you've ever
frame
seen
and
it,
it's
just a
gray,
frame with just
maybe
pieces,
and then
you know?
it brings it to life. It's
Yeah.
crazy what it does. Anyway, I find that really cool. So I appreciate you sharing that piece of yourself with us. So
Yeah,
you
for
ran
sure, man.
you ran the hobby shop, and then you had a stint in MMA. Was that
Mhm.
prior to jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, so that actually was prior to Colorado. Jiu-jitsu, so I met a guy named Charuto Verismo. He's a Team Hawaii head coach, like OG Nova Uniao black belt. And he watched me fight and he said, "My friend, you need jiu-jitsu." So just like squeezing on guillotine, I think is what he saw. Like not even a guillotine, it was just like squeezing on somebody's head. So he invited me. This was in Wilmington, North Carolina. He invited me to come. He was just doing a seminar. He had a school out there. Then he opened a school in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, with John Barnes. Do you know John Barnes? Were you around back in the
I
day? He was a Easton purple
sure I
belt. He
do,
was my
man.
first. Yeah, Jon. I
I
believe
know
he
the
was an
name, and
engineer, if
man,
I
it's
remember
been so
correctly.
freaking
Uh,
long. Um,
It's the man. I walked into that school. I didn't see him at the seminar. Charuto tells me about this school in Winston-Salem. It's about an hour from me. So I went, cool, man. That's 45 minutes from where I work or half an hour from where I work. Let's go. I popped in, met that guy, John. And right away, he tells me if he was a brown belt under Charuto, but he was a purple belt under Amal. And he told me if I ever come out to Colorado that I have to go to Easton Training Center. I ended up moving to Albuquerque for MMA, was the big goal in 2012. And I just got a text message from him, like a three-way. I think it was a text message, like basically an introduction to them all,
sounds right.
saying Kyle needs to come train with you. So I'd pop in like maybe a fight to win or something. Back in the day, Seth would invite us up. A lot of the 10th Planet guys from New Mexico, and we'd roll up. And sometimes I'd make it in to Easton, but mostly I just got to know the people at the tournaments. And then in 2015, might have been early 2016, I started doing randoris. I'd come up to Denver maybe like once a month for a while, and I would just pop in and do some randoris. And I knew Ian, so I knew I wanted to come there. But like after doing the randoris, it just made sense. Like the day one welcoming to a stranger was
Yeah,
a different
the
kind of
idea with
atmosphere
Easton,
for
right?
me.
Like try to make it very inclusive, and then we'll just beat you up on the
Yeah,
mats. But otherwise, like let's get you in here so you can learn
yeah,
easily until you're ready to get. It's a tough balance, right? Like how do you keep that hotel atmosphere, or for like letting people in and having high level customer service, but the dichotomy of like, hey, the mats are still the
yeah,
proving ground. We could still have great customer service and not be assholes, and still create great martial artists.
yeah. And nobody was. I wasn't training a lot at that time. I had some injuries and stuff, and nobody
Yeah.
cared. Like nobody cared in the good way.
Um,
They do just come have fun. Just come have fun. And like all the purple, brown belts, black belts, like I don't know, man. I think starting at like in an MMA program, where there's like 8 guys and it's like boys club a little bit, then moving over, like trying to move into like Jackson Winks, it's just this giant conglomerate, it's just known, right? So it can feel a little bit like you're an outsider walking in, and then like you walk in, what's the square footage? I don't know the square footage on Denver, but it's huge, right? It's like it's a warehouse, and you walk in, you think, okay, it's just going to be like Jackson Winks, and all the good parts are there, but all the click stuff isn't. So day one, it just made sense. Whether it's the front desk process or popping in, it just felt different compared to being in a school where 15 people showed up, you're taking a picture and putting it all over social
yeah.
media because it's a good day. It's just the same 8 guys beating the shit out of
And
each
I think
other
there's a
left and
great
right.
spot for
So
that. I think it's just a matter of
it's nice.
deciding who you want to be and like identifying like what you want to be as a company. And I think
Mhm.
Amal realized that early on, like, man, this isn't working. Like I love just the ass kicking 30 people that I have as members. But again, that
Yeah.
just, it wasn't working. And for me, it's like, we know that jujitsu and Muay Thai help people, right? We know the community helps people. And if we had that
Yeah.
kind of atmosphere, which I would have been fine with, right? It would, that old school atmosphere, we can't help as many people because people won't come in, right? And then they do come in, there'll be such a bad experience, they're going to leave. So how can we get really inclusive but still create tough people on the mats? And that's a tough. It's tough to find that balance, and a lot of people don't get it, even that have moved up in the company. Like, I don't understand how I'm supposed to do both. So, creating the culture and the values goes a long way in systems.
I think of it since we're talking about the hobby shop. So when I took that shop over, we almost doubled the profit, or the revenue rather. We almost doubled the revenue in the first calendar year. Right. And then we had, I think, another 35 to 40% the year after that. And when we were talking so it's a British based company, right? So when I was talking to the guys in England, they were asking like, what caused the explosion? And I think that it's the same thing we do at Easton. If you create a place where people want to be, the side effect is money a little bit, right? Now, that's what I used to just always say when other like shop managers and stuff would be trying to figure out how to grow their thing. And I feel like that's probably the best thing at Easton. As tough as we are and as tough as well as we perform and put people out, it's just different when we talk about like sales, marketing, product, culture, but especially like getting that product and culture into a good spot where people want to be there. Everything else just kind of falls into place, whether it's trying to like grow an academy or just like have a place where you don't mind bringing your kids or inviting a friend or having drop-ins. Like, I think that's probably the most masterful thing that we do. And then finding the toughness, just that's a numbers game a little bit, just who wants it and develop it that, more individually.
I would agree. And I think I would say the result, like having a culture and a welcoming atmosphere with an awesome martial art, like we're calling it product here for like more general statements, but for the martial arts that we teach, the result is more people, like happier people. So more people keep coming. Right. And then it's a membership. So people have to pay for it because we have to make our bills. And what I would say is more people, it creates more people. But like, man, at Easton, we have over 200 and something. It's like I don't even know what it is. Probably 350, 400 people that are comped memberships, that we just don't get charged. A lot of them work, they trade. Like I do 2 classes a week and then you get a free membership. But it's not a free membership. It's like, no, you're working. It's a job because you're working for those hours. And then we have a massive scholarship program connected with Martial Arts Moves where Easton fronts the bill for all these people. Like I think Centennial has they're at their cap at 19 people. Each school has a cap for Martial Arts Moves, and then it's Martial Arts Moves pays for the gear. But Easton covers those fees on scholarship basis on income levels. Kids whatever it is, 5 to 12 years old. And then as the time goes on, once they're old enough to give back, then they have to start giving back for their work. But though it brings in more people, and we also try to give a lot of that back in a way where people that can't afford it have an option. So it's that it is, I don't want to say pay to play. It's if you can afford to pay, you pay. And then a lot of people that can't afford to pay, we find a way to make sure they can still be part of Easton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's a great. I mean, I was one of those people. I'm just to be honest. I knew I was coming day one. Day one, I'm coming to train. I moved to Colorado with not much of a plan other than, hey, business has slowed down in New Mexico. So I was trying to build a book of business. I didn't have the shop. Hey, man, how can I clean? How can I use some expertise? And I don't want favors. I want real genuine trade. I need to make sure I'm adding value. And I think that for anyone who may be in that boat where they're hoping for a little bit of assistance, how are you adding value? It's not always financial,
or they don't think that. Maybe they just need help, right? It creates entitlement, right? And we're just trying to avoid that.
Sure.
But that's how we all came up. I worked. I put. We all I paid for 6 months, and then the membership fee went to $200 a month because I got my blue belt in 6 months, and that was the price for blue belts back then. This is 2007, and I was like, dude, I love this place, but I can't. I'm at 150 right now and I can barely afford it. I was making $8 an hour in college. And they're like, all right, well, you can work. And I was like, you got it. So I had two jobs. I had to open the school 2 days a week and work a full Sunday shift, and then do something else during the week. I forget what it was, maybe teach an orientation, and then also do marketing. I had once a week, I had to spend an hour or two putting stickers around town.
Full guerrilla that back then, right?
That's how I heard
no
about
paid marketing, was all guerrilla.
Works great.
Yeah. It works.
Anyway, we don't have to stay on this subject, but I appreciate that. So you went, so we got to catch up. You did some MMA, you got discovered or saw like, oh man, you suck at jiu-jitsu in one of your fights. Come learn jiu-jitsu with us. And you had the humility to go do that, which is incredible. You're a fucking hobby nerd, which I personally respect a lot because I find that stuff, it's so far out of my reach that I'm like, man, I am so impressed by it. Like I'm like, Ian showed me his things. I'm like, show me more. Give me another one. I could look at those all day.
Yeah.
They just really blow my mind. Just the worth. Sorry, I'll stop talking about it. I can't help myself. And then after that, you came back to Easton. You taught. You did the DH, and now you're a GM. So let's fast forward a bit. Let's talk about GMing a bit, and we'll get into your jiu-jitsu as well and coaching. But I'd love to hear about. I don't know. Let's start with this. What was the hardest part about leaving Denver as a department head and moving to Arvada as a general manager? And with this answer, try to keep it. You can give examples, but let's keep it kind. Because I don't know. For me, sometimes I was like, man, this motherfucker did this and it was awful. And you're more PC than me.
Yeah. As soon as I walked in, Now, I think probably the hardest part was keeping a little ego in check. And the reason I say is I taught a lot of classes, man. If you included MMA practices and randoris, I think it was like 17 a week or something, classes that I was leading.
You were teaching the most classes of the department.
Finding
that is a lot of classes. How are you finding time for anything?
Yeah, I mean, I had the time for all the things that I wanted, which was to be on the mat. I find myself a little trapped in that cycle, but I like it. So, but like 17 classes a week or something like that. It's hard to feel, or it's hard to fight that feeling of like, this is my program a little bit. And I was always fighting off that demon, where it's just like, hey, no, it's just like these people do look up to me and I respect them. And whether they're older than me and they have something to offer that's not jujitsu or something, like stepping away from that a little bit. Some of the relationships was tough because I had spent half a decade, building those relationships. I think it was like 4 years as DH or something, 21 until 25. So stepping away a little bit from that and not being on the mat as much, right? My identity from teaching that much across like multiple programs a little bit, right? Like my identity was the guy on the mat, the guy at the tournaments, the guy, and even though I'm still at the tournaments, I'm teaching a few classes a week. Maybe I assist a kids class here or there, but now, it's not the fight business, it's the people business, and you've got to balance both of those things, but just kind of making that shift a little bit to, a leader as a figurehead more than a leader as a coach or as an instructor or something I'm not going to say it was difficult. It was difficult in my own ego a little bit because I still for a long time was just identifying as that coach.
That's a really good point. Like I've had those transitions a couple times, and I remember the one from GMing to the CEO role, and somebody said the same thing to me. Like it might be hard at first because you're not going to be seen. Like you have all these. There's 1,000 members in Boulder, right? And like 50 staff members. You're going to completely relinquish all of that and have to step into a different role behind the scenes.
Right.
But I was never like a main coach. I taught kids for a while and I loved teaching kids, but I never did a lot of the adult coaching. It just wasn't my thing. But I think about for that transition, and you said the word figurehead, I feel like as a coach, you're the one getting all the celebration, right? When you're out there, I mean, if that's what you need, right? Like you can, if you're like looking back from like from 30,000 feet as a coach, there's this coach and there's all the students and the students listen to the coach, and that coach needs to make sure they have no inflated sense of self. Like people may look up to you, but like, and you'd be like, hey, yo, I'm a jiu-jitsu coach, right? And you have to like work on certain people that can like, are just really looking to attach onto a leader. Cause like, oh, this guy does something I love. I want to know everything he knows. And it's like, no, I'm not a life coach. I am just a jiu-jitsu coach and I have some wisdom to share, but they're mostly from speeches that I think are useful. And recognizing that like, just because people look up to you because of your coaching, like not letting it go too far, and I think that was always an important thing that I've always thought about keeping in check. And then when you're a GM, it's this, you have less, that power kind of slides out, which is nice. But as the GM, which is why I really liked it, is like, though as a coach, right, you have an impact on all the people in your class. So maybe it's 30 people, maybe it's 50 people, maybe it's 10 people, and maybe it's all the class you teach. But as a GM, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute. Now I need to find a way to have an impact on 1,000 people or 500 people, including the staff. But I have to do it not from the front and center because that's not where I can be. How can I improve things behind them and support them and know that I'm not going to get credit for it? Not that this is like some martyr speaking, but knowing that it's going to actually help a bigger group of people. And I think that is a change. Like, you may not get credit as you step out of these individual roles, but you have an opportunity to help more people or affect more people in a positive way. And I know when I started coaching, like, especially the kids, it's like, man, that was like, the parents were always so grateful. And you can be like, oh man, thank you. Oh, thank you. And it can go to your head, but it's like, man, you're just one little blip in that time period in their life. And it's like, yeah, I'm stoked. That was super useful. Thank you so much. Thank you for the gift of saying those kind of things. And that will step away. That will slowly dissipate. You won't get that admiration or love that you got as a coach once you're in the GM role. You'll get a lot of shit thrown at you, and you'll get some good love too. But the job isn't about that, right? It never was. But once that disappears, it can be harder for some people than others. And I'm not saying that's what you're pointing to, but I do see that's like a big deal. And like, I think for me, the big thing to recognize is like, okay, I may be eating shit all the time, but man, what do I really want to do in this life? And it's like, I want to just try to help as many. Obviously I care about myself too. I'm not some selfless fucking white knight here, but I think like when I have that conversation with myself, I'm saying, man, this is the right job because in this job, I get to affect more lives in a positive way, even though there may be less positives coming at me.
Yeah. I feel like it's a little more delayed gratification. Like at a GM kind of level, right? You might get a member or a coach. Like, it's amazing when your front desk goes, man, you really made a difference in like this or that, or coach like, I never really knew I could step up this much. You do get that instant gratification a little, but a lot of it's like, hey, what are we doing quarter one? And let's see how it pays off. Like, how can we make 2026 better than 25? And then you have to wait 12 months to see how it pays off. So I think it's a little more delayed gratification, and it's not as much acknowledgement. I think the gratification is less acknowledgement and more,
see the results.
I don't know, pride in a sense.
And it's not coming from coming from affirmation from other people. It's just watching it unfold.
Yeah. And when it happens, you still get that little boost of instant dopamine a little bit. Right. But instead of like making you feel good, like, and it is part of it, but it can drive you to go, oh man, if they only knew what was going on behind the scenes, and you just dig in a little deeper on that stuff, so it's almost like the compliments are just fueling the next
like,
thing
man,
that hasn't been started.
The higher level is like, man, okay, this feels good. I'm going to keep, I don't know. I think about, I always, now that I'm a parent, I always go back to this. My kids are 8 and 5, so I don't know how they're going to end up, but I know wherever they end up and how it goes. I know that I'm a small piece of developing that. And I think I recognize that I try to keep that in the forefront of my mind. Like, that was my idea, or that I was a piece of that idea. That's really cool. And it worked, and it's doing well. It's cool. I'm really, and knowing that personally being enough, not somebody coming up to me like, hey, you did a great job as a dad, or, hey, and that is a gift. It is like taking a compliment is an important thing, but sometimes I find when you don't look for the validation or need it, or you don't want the power, man, and you're able to really sit back and enjoy the results of your efforts without acknowledgement, I find that to be really liberating, and it keeps going. It's like, I don't need outputs to make me feel good. I just need to keep putting in the work, and then things will unfold. Or if things are terrible, like, I fucked that up. Sorry, guys. Hey, everybody. That was me. I'm sorry. Then, hey, everything worked out really well. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, great. I'm not going to tell anybody. That was awesome.
Shit, man. There's such a liberating feeling about that too. Like when it's like, oh man, that was my mess up. You realize like that was on my shoulders. This could have been something great, and it was mediocre. And that was on me. And like, how do I improve that next time? Right. Like that's still like super valuable. That's still positive feedback, if you want it to be, like embarrassment is an amazing tool if you can channel it right.
Like, I'm always like, oh no, I fucking everybody. I'm sorry. Yeah. That was me,
Yeah. Only one person's allowed to be the most angry, right? I can't believe this idiot did. Who? Oh, it was me. Okay. Like, no one's going to beat you up. Like, you're your own worst enemy.
Cool. So that was like the hardest transition. What do you say some of the What are some of the positive successes that have come out of this? What have you been in this role for? A little over a year now? How long has it been?
Yeah. So, I mean, I officially took over the first week of January. I think it was December of 24, but let's call it January 25, right? That's when I officially was flying solo at that location. Um, Man, I mean, we've built a lot, whether it's trying to make sure everything like last year was, hey, what's scalable, right? Like if it's not scalable, how can we troubleshoot it so that it is, and that's been something big. And just I for quarterly themes and goals and annual themes and goals amongst teams. That's probably been like our biggest thing, and I think it helps kind of keep some of the focus. Like this year, like, hey, our number one core value is excellence. Like everything we do needs to come through that lens, and ask ourselves and ask each other, is that excellent? Um, that's been that's been really cool to kind of like try to shift, whether it's competition, whether it's the amount of extracurriculars, birthday parties, ninja nights, things like that, summer camps. Like, man, how can we take something that we're doing but really make it excellent? And we've seen some of that shift in the competition culture. I think that we've seen some of that shift in how the newer students approach class. Like it feels more like a buy-in from day one instead of like, I'm going to give it a month and figure it out, and all that starts both from the top down and the bottom up. I know I'm speaking nebulously a little bit, but as we change everything, it's just viewing it through like a lens and then adding on to that lens quarter by quarter. Like once we can identify excellence, let's make sure everything we're doing is trustworthy. Let's make sure everything that we're doing is compassion and so on. And it's been great so far. I can see when it clicks, and it's
Yeah.
pretty rewarding too.
I
And the
there's
people, I mean.
like a metaphor I think of. I mean, it's an analogy. Anyway, there's according to Walter, is this incredible ultra runner that I follow. She's just amazing, and she's like
Mhm.
so fun and just fun to hear her talk. And she always talks about adding the grains of sand because, like in ultra running, it's like you're running
Mhm.
for X amount of hours, sometimes 10, sometimes 15, sometimes 40,
Yeah.
depending on the race. And the thing with progress like that, I mean, she's been doing it since she was like 14, 13. She's been running and she's like in her almost 40 now. But she's always talking about the grains of sand. And jujitsu is the same way. And so is business. So is building an academy. She's like, man, you're just adding one grain of sand a day. So like, which if you think about like, if you make a
Mhm.
metaphor like, yeah, I'm adding like a building block a day, you're gonna have a pretty tall stack. But the grain of
Mhm.
sand is something you can't see the
Yeah.
progress. It's like you're like walking out the door, you throw a grain of sand on the pile, and like you're not gonna see the progress. But then you're like 4 years, you look back, you have a fucking pile of sand, you know, and it just takes
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much time, and the progress is so hard to see. And that's how I've had to learn as I've gotten older, where like in the past I'd say, oh, I'm not going to make those mistakes. I'm going to read this book and I'm going to make it happen. And then I look 7 years later, like, oh, we're
Mhm.
finally executing what I thought would take me 6 months.
Right. The
Yeah. And then
2015
it's like
vision
just adding
coming
that
into
grain
play.
of sand and just shooting for excellence every day. And then like being adaptable and then being compassionate for yourself. So you're not like, you know, hating on yourself, because our core values, right? Excellence, compassion, trust, stewardship, and adaptability are these key parts that are meant to work together to make sure we always are working towards our best selves. And I think your points are really clarifying to that.
Yeah. Taking things, I've always heard like the baby cow analogy, right? I don't know, maybe it's true. You pick up a baby cow every day, eventually you'll pick up the food because you can't feel it gaining the weight, right? The sand is way more direct and to the point. Like that
I like them both.
visualization
I think
so
that's great.
much like
Yeah,
more impactful.
that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. That's the idea, though. You're like, oh yeah, shit, you're not going to see it or feel it until all of a sudden it's there. Uh, so let's go back. Let's go a little bit day operations here. So you run a martial arts school with,
Mhm.
and that school was run by the Klein brothers in 2009. I think they opened it 2009 or 10, and we purchased it. Elliot and I bought it off of them in 2017. And you're the third general manager there, I think, in almost 10 years
Jeff,
or
Chris, me. Yeah.
years, and
Yeah.
it's not that much transition. So for you, going to the day, what is, as a GM, what is it that you spend most of your energy on right now? Like as a GM, I can give you some examples, or you can sort of run with it.
Hmm. Man, let me
Yeah,
hear
of
your
course. Like
examples. Make sure we're on the same page.
people, processes, problems, um, Yeah, there's some throwing at you.
Yeah, well, I mean, every time you solve a problem, two more pop up. It's a little bit like a hydra, you know? So I think that's part of it, and getting the buy-in so that everyone is trying to solve similar problems in a similar way. But process is probably, that was something major in 25, was like a lot of observing stuff, like, hey, what processes are really in place? What are we really sharp on? Where can we kind of improve? And just like observing trends, right? And trying not to do anything on a day or a week or even a month time frame, like looking at quarters, looking at half years, looking at full years. And so processes, I think, is probably where the bulk of my mental bandwidth goes, as far as, you know, how do we improve this, and getting the same level of buy-in from everyone kind of at all times. But, you know, the people, I think, is the focus of the role, whether it's employees or members, right? It's very, one major thing, you know, that we talk a lot with Easton Online, the consulting side of Easton with other martial arts gyms. Like, you are not in the martial arts business. Your coaches might be, right? But you are not. You are in the people business. So regardless of if it's a member or if it's an employee, or even if it's not a problem to solve, it's just how can we make things a little bit easier on everybody, right? I think the bulk of my time is around the people. And I think that's, for me, why it's really important to get into the academy when it's empty and not just whenever it's full, because you're not getting anything done between like the hours of 4 and 8. Like, you're not getting any work done. You're not touching a keyboard unless it's the front desk scanning somebody in. You know, you're definitely not training unless you're teaching. All right. So I think the bulk of the time is the people, but the bulk of the focus is on processes. And I think if the processes are in play well, then the management of people is just the good parts, you know, the camaraderie parts, and not the correction parts.
It's easier with our core values in place, right? To make these decisions, because you can always put that filter.
I think it makes it easy to talk to people about it, you know, and it's less embarrassing, because when you're like, hey man, that didn't look very excellent, right? It's like no one's berating you. It's just, that's what we look at things through. It makes a big difference.
I have to have a hard conversation coming up here probably on the weekend, and the big thing for me is it's the trust piece. It's like, this individual is not understanding what we're doing, and I'm like, okay, you've been doing this for teaching for a year, maybe 2, and it's like, what? And you're pushing back really hard on some stuff that we've really put a lot of time into. Multiple people that collectively have like over like 100 years of experience. You know, it's like, and you have 6. So it's like,
yeah,
you're not trusting us. So what is it that's wrong, and how can I build your trust here? Because that's one of our main core values. And right now, I'm struggling to see why this disconnect is here. But I'll use the values to go into the conversation, because that's always the first step.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you tackle that? Because like, someone told me once, and it's not an uncommon saying, but like, hey, do exactly what I tell you to do until you find out that I don't know what I'm talking about, or that I'm lying. Right. And then I just started taking that role, like whether it's with you, whether it's anybody, where it's just like, this guy knows what he's talking about. And until I find out that he's lying or doesn't, I'm just going to take his word. So how do you tackle those when you're talking about a century of experience and somebody not trusting it?
Yet. So I'm going with the assumption that they don't really understand what the values mean and what the experience and leadership behind it are. And I think there's a very different between asking questions, you know, and trying to figure out what's happening versus constantly questioning and doubting what's happening. And it's like, that's what I want to get to. Like, man, I want you to ask questions. Every process we have, all the values that exist, all came from people asking questions, you know, and like trying to figure out how we could do better. That's how we improve. That's why we love Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, because when you get hit in the face, you get armbarred, you have to learn to get better. Like, this is my favorite part about teaching the comp class. I'm not teaching a bunch of moves, but I'm showing them like, okay, do you see how we're doing this position and you're getting fucked up over and over again in this position? Obviously, that's where you need to work on. So let's talk about 2 areas you can study. So next week you come back a little bit better focused. It just shows you your holes. And with this conversation, I can go into, all right, where is the hole, or in your logic or my logic? And let's start there. I'm like, all right. And then if they have some stuff that I've never thought of, like, damn, I never thought about that. Or if there's stuff like, well, what about this? I'm like, okay, well, there's a misunderstanding. This is what's actually taking place, not that. And then sometimes it's like, oh, and a light bulb goes off, and they're like, got it. And because I've been doing this I've been managing since 2001 or 2003. But I've been in Easton since 2007 and running I don't know, I've been doing this for just at Easton alone, it's been 17 years. and I can usually understand their concepts, what's wrong, and then say, okay, this is where the misunderstanding is, and I apologize. And I can usually clarify it. And if they just don't want to hear it, then it's usually like a values issue, or like they're on the wrong bus issue, or they should be on the bus as a student, but not as a staff member. And that's okay. That's every answer is okay. But at the end of the day, like, hey man, if you still don't think we're right the way we're doing it and you feel you have a better way, that's fine. But you just can't do that way here because and you haven't convinced me that your way is better.
Yeah. You said something that really stuck out to me, and it's the difference between compliance and trust, right? Because it's one thing to say, well, this is what the boss said, so we got to do it. And it's another, compliance and trust aren't the same thing, right? And I think that you can say, trust me or whatever, but you mean comply? Or from the other side, it's like, yeah, I got it, I trust you, but you mean I'm going to comply, right? Like, big difference between those two, but the language is the exact same. That's a really, really good
why
point.
Is missing. Like Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, the whole idea, there's missing a key part of the why. And often when a GM is trying to explain the why to somebody, sometimes the GM's only been in the role for a year or two. And like, if you talk to me or Ian, we've been doing this for over 40 years now or something like that collectively. And we built the systems that we're currently using together along with other people. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, you may know the why, Kyle, or another GM, but man, you don't have the extra, 40 years collectively to understand the more nuance of it. So it's like being a black belt, right? Like, yes, the purple belt can understand the basics really well, but like they're missing some nuanced pieces because they don't have the extra 10 years experience. So it's just.
So black belts and blue belts know the same moves. I tell every blue, like armbar, like we have all the same, I'm just better at it. Right. And you can get there too.
You're so right. Like I know so much. My jiu-jitsu is so basic, but I'm good at those things.
Yeah. 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 And honestly, the parallel, let's draw the parallel, whether it's one of our products, or one of, the martial arts, Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, I don't need to know 1,000 moves when I have 1,000 ways to my best move. When we have the core values, we don't need 1,000 core values. We just need everything to I look at fit into those 4 or 5.
And like Hodger, like I learned Hodger's mount submission.
Yeah.
Like his I just watched him finish every single person at Worlds in 2010 or I don't know what year it was with a mount fucking front collar choke. And I was like, I need to learn that. And I learned it.
Yeah. And told them that he was going to do it. Like back world champion after world champion after world champion. He's like, I'm going to pass your guard. I'm going to mount you on the collar choke.
You're really good at this. You can tap almost anybody. And then I watch Bernardo Faria, who's like the sweetest person in the world, finish everybody with the same, 6 world championships. He had his wall in Bishesha, but other than that, like he over and over beat everybody with the same thing. And he was just so good at it. The
same path
guard, to the sweep, and it was just like, and that's more how I look at jiu-jitsu, but I do love the Mendez brothers too. Like when I want to study deep, like I'm like, let's learn all the cool shit that works so well.
That's what's beautiful about it. And you shouldn't not grow, right? But there's only a limited number of ways that the body can move. You just make it move away it's not supposed to on what fits with you, right? And it's been a decade, maybe not that long, a long time since I've been hit by something where I go, what was that? I see it coming a mile away and I just can't do anything about it, right? And there's probably some parallels to the business in that side too.
That's why we added the adaptability core value a couple of years ago, because for me, that is one of the most, as a dad, as a, being in the business world with you all and doing jiu-jitsu and like doing Muay Thai, like, man, you can't keep going head on. Like adaptability is such an important part of everything we do. Because every person's different. Like there's this, I've been really enjoying teaching comp training, and Coach Tira Pritt is one of she's my age, right? And she's a fucking animal. She's like 125 pounds maybe.
Yeah.
And no matter who she's going against, she does the same thing. And she fucks up most people. Doesn't matter male or female, especially if they're her weight and they're similar talent, but because she's so aggressive, it works. But as soon as she hits somebody that's bigger than her, like, add 20, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, it stops working because she's still trying to be a bull, and she's being a bull against somebody who's also a bull. And it's like, hey, Tira, what you're doing is working for many things, but you're not being strategic with this. You're going to hit people in your weight class that are going to be stronger and better than you, and you need to be more strategic about your approach. So instead of bullying into these individuals, think about a different game. Stop tying up with the 180-pound guy. think about how you're going to get to your guard and do what you want to do. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get her to see that, because what she does works really well, but she is so good that it's like she needs to see a bit more strategic mindset.
Yeah, I mean, when the well seems bottomless, you keep going back to it. It's not until it's dry, and then you still check a few more times after it dried up anyway.
Let's jump into jiu-jitsu a little bit. Man, I know you love coaching. I know Professor Alex loves having you as like working with him at the tournaments. I know Elliot loves working with you. Everybody just enjoys your obsession with jiu-jitsu and having you as a coach. Yeah, I don't know. You want to talk about that a little bit? Like, you said you love being on the mat, 17 classes a week in Bolton.
Yeah.
Is insane.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned the obsession thing too. There's a funny, we're coming up to Pans again. Last year, I tell this story all the time. Like, I can't expect anyone to be as obsessed as me, right? It's probably not healthy, honestly, right? So I want you to love it, but I don't need you to be totally obsessed with it. I was flying back from Pans last year with Professor Alex, and we had just done, God, like between coaching, game planning for the next day, match review, after action report, it's like 12-hour days, like 4 of them in a row. I hop on a plane and watch 4 straight hours of jiu-jitsu matches. And, like I didn't watch many, it was just rewind, 10 seconds, rewind, half an hour on the same 10-second sequence. And I just remember like thinking, this guy must be so disappointed in me. Like, he just like all this guy does, he has no individual, like no original thought, but that's kind of how I operate, I think, a little bit. Everything I've always, girlfriend, whatever. So don't ask me what I'm thinking. You already know the answer. So, I've just kind of always been that way, man. I've been into martial arts and fighting my whole life. Jiu-jitsu is actually the last or like most recent martial art that I ever did. And I'll probably never do another martial art as long as I live. I'm just wild about it, man. I didn't like it at first. I actually quit. I love closed guard armbar week and fundamentals because I quit jiu-jitsu twice over it. I quit jiu-jitsu twice because I could not hit an armbar from like even in a drill. I just could not figure it out. Could not, and I didn't have as good of instruction. We didn't have curriculum, anything like that, right? And I was just like, this isn't for me. Who wants to be on bottom? This is stupid. Get on top and punch him in the face, But like once I overcame it, and once I went, oh, this is just that, but upside down, or whatever it was, like it's the ultimate problem solving game. I am still very into boxing, right? The sweet science, like, hey, you only have 2 things you're allowed to hit me with, and we're standing nose to nose. Like, it's all about fractions of an inch missing. I love it. But jiu-jitsu, it's problem solving on a different level. And the coaching side of it to me is problem solving on a different level. Like seeing in a match and being like, man, this person's like totally lost. And I'm having to go, all right, how do I not only help them through this position, but in a way that they can hear through the chaos and understand what I'm saying, right? Like, and understanding the individual athlete, because that's a problem too. For with you, like, I can be like, yo, get up and hustle, whatever it might be, right? You've built a lot more skill, but for a lower belt or white or blue belt or something, it's like, hey man, get your right foot flat on the floor. Now put all your weight on your right leg, and they can take it from there, right? Like, what's the minimum amount of talking that I can do to solve this problem, or to help somebody solve it for themselves? So, man, I'm just crazy about it. Like when people are tied up in knots and it's like 2 white gis and you can't see whose arm and whose leg is which, and like you just have a split second to try to give like a very concise like word or two, because you can't speak in full sentences, right? Not all the time. So like that's a huge problem solving, like, or fun kind of puzzle for me. I decided honestly during COVID, when we all had a lot of time to sit back and reflect, I'm like, hey man, your chance to be the best athlete in the world passed. And that's okay. But you got decades and decades and decades to be the best coach. Will you hit it? Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't matter. But man, even 20 years, that's not a long enough timeline to decide whether you're going to get to be the best ever. So like I could be 70, 80 and still try. Maybe I hit it, maybe I don't. But man, that's a timeline that I can't see the end of. Right. And I think that's when I really shifted that focus. Like, man, I'm not gonna say I lost my chance. I did some really fun stuff. I've got some plaques, I've got some medals, but the reward of like seeing it come through your leadership a little bit, that resonates with me more these days. I haven't in a few years, man. I have competed at black belt, right? It's something I'm always hunting, and probably not. If I'm honest, probably I think about it every day. I don't think the risk and reward right now fits for me with some of the like spinal injuries. That said, dude, I obsess over non-surgical spinal healing options all the time so that I can. You know, like man, I'm getting ready. I'm masters 2. Uh in 27, I'll be masters 3. Like I'm not it's not like I'm trying to get out there and be,
No, but like
jump
I
into
did
the
Masters
UFC
3 a
cage
couple
or
years ago. I
something.
did a few tournaments and it was a blast.
Yeah.
But I hadn't competed in 10 years prior to that because I just the family, the business, and all that. And
Yeah.
I don't love competing,
Right.
but I like winning. To be honest, I really it's like
Yeah,
the
sure.
idea of going there competing and all that. I'm not having fun. I really am not. I did it for so much of
Yeah.
my life that like I'm just meh.
Right.
But I do it. I did it, and like I do like winning. So I like working really hard to find. And I know that's not like a healthy thing for everybody. But what I really like is knowing that I gave my all. What I hate is when I go out there and I decide to quit because I'm too tired or I get too far behind. And I think when I went out 2 years ago and did a bunch of tournaments, there were a couple matches where I was way behind at the end, and I was like, and then in my head, I'm old enough now to realize, like, man, if I just sit here and let this match roll out and say, oh, I made it here, I did well enough, I had one match, blah blah blah, that same story, I know I'm going to end this
Yeah.
match because I've been there, and I'm going to be so disappointed with myself. And I'm like, okay, talk through this. And then I came back and won those matches. But for me, I say it's the winning, but I think it's really like proving to myself that I can go further when my mind is telling me not to. That is what I find the most rewarding, I think, in life.
Yeah.
And that's where so and the other thing that I run into here with that, and this is where I end up making not enemies, is that I think everybody should do that. So like when somebody's like quitting or giving up on something, I get mad and I'm like, no. And they think I'm mad at them. I'm like, no, but that's just your mind telling you can't do it. That's fucking bullshit. Don't listen to that. And they're like, well, no, I just can't. I'm like, no, fuck that. And I get really intense and I'm running too hard on my kids and wife with that stuff. But it's like, man, because I see the potential in you. I know it's possible.
Well, and because of the firsthand, whether you did or didn't quit. I was a historical quitter. I was raised to quit, man. I wrote a little ebook years ago, and that was the theme. I was raised to be a quitter, and even for me, it was the finals when it mattered, right? Locals, whatever. If you don't win gold, why'd you waste your time? Like I had that mindset a little bit. That's not healthy, by the way, everybody. But like at majors or like when you're traveling, when you're a broke 20-year-old with 8 guys in a passenger van sleeping like 18-hour drives, like I would get to the finals and I'd be like, silver medal no matter what. And then you quit. You quit before the match starts because you were resting on laurels that you didn't even have yet a little bit, right? So for me, that's a bit of a pet peeve only because I know how easy it is. And I know that you get to make that phone call to mom and dad or spouse or whoever, regardless, and you get to say, I won silver no matter what happens. Like it's a cool feeling, man. But yeah, that's tough when you hear that in the head a little bit. And to be honest, even though I'm not competing, I'm with the competitors. And pushing them is super rewarding to me. And seeing, can I push myself? A few years ago, man, we were doing a Denver Open prep a little bit, right? And just training super, super hard in Denver. And it was right around the same time as that one championship came into Denver. And then RDR comes in to train. Bro, if I hadn't just done 6 weeks of grueling hell, you think I could help RDR do anything against Ty Ruotolo? Like I can't emulate Ty in my best shape, obviously, as far as like cardio and stuff goes. But it's like, man, this wouldn't have been an option. This would have been one training round with a cool guy if I hadn't just killed myself for 6 weeks trying to get into competition shape, whether I was competing or not. I think I did compete at that one, but yeah, that's the reward is the work itself because you don't get any of the benefits if you can't do the act. If you don't prepare for competition, you're not going to get to enjoy the medal. It's just how it is. It's some aspect, right? But if you're not, one thing Sean Madden says, I love 80% ready 100% of the time. Now, when anything comes up, someone is coming in for a pro match or maybe one of the MMA guys just needs some jiu-jitsu work or some striking work. It's like, man, if you say no to that because you're out of shape,
you can't say no.
Good
Even
luck.
If you're out of shape, man. That's
good
what
luck.
You realize too. Like,
yeah,
say you're out of shape and you have the experience. It's like you're gonna kill yourself to give that person your all. I mean, there's a point when you get too old, maybe, But like that is
Yes.
like something that you have to understand.
Right.
Like, did you just say no? What did you just say? You just had an opportunity
Yeah.
to train with this person and you said no because you were out of shape. Are you out of your mind? For me, that is like the most, no matter how out of shape I am or how good of shape I am, it's like the answer has to be yes. And when I get into my 50s, I'll probably shift off of it. I'm already in my 40s. So like it's maybe not as, I don't feel as strongly about that now, at least in the martial arts world, because I know I'm 20 something years older. But in everything else that I'm doing, whether it's the ultra running or like these extreme workouts I do, like or like it's a hunting thing, I want it's yes. I am in the best shape I can possibly be all the time for these things. And the answer is never no. Because what's my question is this: is it going to kill you? And that's what I tell my kids. Like, okay, I see you're upset about this, and it's going to be hard, but is it going to kill you? They're like, no. Are you going to get like wounded? Like, no. I'm like, then fucking just do it. It's 10 minutes. Just do it. Who cares? And have that mindset. Everything is possible.
Yeah. And I hate thinking I'm going to die in the moment, but I seek it out. Like you will seek it out. You seek out the things that you hate
Well, you have
half
to learn
the time
to,
anyway.
It's so much better when you do it.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing worse than that first wind. You know what I mean? Like that first wind leaves you and you in one round, right? And you're never going to come back. Like, oh man, but what a blessing that feeling is when you just redline it that first 5 minutes. You go, how am I going to figure this out?
I have a workout today.
That's a blessing, man.
I'm at the end of like a 14-week cycle for this workout thing I'm doing. And today is it's the last week of really intense, of heavy lifting, like 80% body weight, super high step ups on my back, and like 200% body weight sled pushes and all this shit today. And then I gotta go teach and train with the comp team like right afterwards. And it's the last week, and my body's wrecked from this. And I trained super hard in Castle Rock last night, and they all beat me up. But I'm like dreading it, but I know as soon as I'm done, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be so much happier because I'm going to feel like I'm just about to die, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. And here's the thing, man, when we're done, we're done. Obviously it'll slow, it'll decline, but when you're done, you're done to an extent, right? Like, and I don't ever want to be done. Right. And I don't want it to sneak up on me, right? Just like the submission thing. Like I want to see that the end is coming decades out. Like, yeah, I'm slowing down and that's okay. I'm slowing down and that's okay. Till eventually get to the, hey, I can't beat you, but you won't beat me. And then
so
then one day you're done.
You would give to young athletes that are competing?
Man, as a 38-year-old that didn't start taking care of his body until like a few months ago, that I know everyone says it, right? And I don't have kids, so I can't speak with authority on this, but boy, my parents were right about a lot of stuff, and you can't ever see it. You can't ever see it, right? But yeah, if you're 22 and you're like, hey man, I'm good, like maybe, right? Like if you're 22, there's no such thing as overtraining, just undersleeping and undereating, right? But take it seriously. Right? Like we're all going to fight through injuries. We're all going to probably push at times when we shouldn't, but it's and what is it? An ounce of prevention's worth a pound of regret or something like that. Dude, I'm living it.
Prevention.
An ounce of prevention is worth what is it? Something, yeah, it's something like that, right? And like, or maybe another way to look at it is there's only two pains: the pain of discipline and the pain of regret, right? And the discipline side, I think that we do really good on the push gung ho side, but not on the other. And I'm not a recovery expert, so I'm not going to give advice on it. I'm just going to say that I never thought I'd be where I am physically, like living in a certain amount of pain or discomfort or whatever. Like I never saw it coming. So yeah, like before, I'm sure no one else did either.
Not some high level coaches. Like we coach very, very recreational jiu-jitsu people, right? But it is something we care about, and we're going to get there. Like we'll keep pushing the coaching, like especially Kyle. But man, like there is a lot of experience, and I think some of the information you receive for somebody who's been on the mat for 20 years is very valuable. And somebody that's been alive that long, that's been competing for that long, like you're never going to listen to shit in your 20s. I think people in their 20s, I think they have to really decide if they want to put into it. People that like get to the top level in their 20s, they have been extreme discipline and they want it on their own. We have some kids that are like 14 years old and or 15 now in Longmont. There's this one that she gets up at 4 a.m. and lifts every day. and then she goes for a run, and then she
Yeah.
on her own, and then she goes to school, and then wrestles, and then does jujitsu, and she just does this day in and day out because she's really disciplined. But she wants it. She's not burning herself out. Nobody's pushing her, and she has the potential to do whatever she wants because it's her decision. And as a kid, especially in your teens and 20s, it's pretty hard not to rebel against what people tell you. Like you know better. So it has to find a way to plant the seed where they realize they're doing it on their own, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, you said something. You said that she's not going to burn out, right? I'm not going to burn out. And if I think the flip side of that coin is, I don't think it would be possible in talking martial arts. I feel like it is impossible for me to burn out on passion, desire, whatever. But the ability can burn out so damn fast. Yeah. You know, the ability to do the things that you want to do, not the desire to do it, but the ability to do it. So I think that's the warning a little bit, right? Because I'm more passionate now than I was 15, 20 years ago, but I can't do what I wanted. And man, like that's a tough mirror to look in when you're like, man, I could have stretched it out another decade or something like that, you know? And I don't have the advice. I just know the people who do have the good advice, like it is worth listening to, and you probably won't.
It's the hindsight, though, right? Like whatever. We can talk about it now. People can hear it. People can not. You're gonna see your teachers or not see your teachers when they show up in your life. But yeah, there's so much more we could have done. I'm way more disciplined now. I'm in much better shape than I've ever been in. But it took me a while to like tighten the lens on what matters to me. You know, I know what matters to me, and I focus on those things. But as a kid, I say kid, right? Like, man. Jiu-jitsu mattered to me, and I wanted to be a world champion, but so did chasing ladies and partying and staying up late and playing video games. Like now I just couldn't break. I like wrote on my bed, you're going to run to every day at 5 a.m. or something like that. I never did it. Right. I'd have all these great ideas. Like I'd rather stay up late and just hang out with my friends. I just didn't have it. You know, I didn't have what it takes.
Yeah. Writing it down doesn't do it, man. Just favorite saying is like affirmations without discipline is just delusion, or affirmations without action is just delusion, right? Yeah. Write it down, do the run. Don't write it down. Don't get that extra 5 seconds of sleep if it's that important instead of writing it down and get up and do
it. Let's see. Do I have anything else for you? I have another question. What the hell was it? I wrote it down somewhere. Let me see if I can get it. I think those are the main things. Everything else to share, man? You've been with the company for a while now in Easton, and any words of wisdom for fellow staff members or people that want to move up in the company, or people that, you know, are on the mats, whether they're general practitioners or competitors?
Yeah, I think that all of those, sure, I probably do. Take care of people, treat yourself well. But if you're, Easton is so special in the way that it can actually create like a real career path for the people that might be unhealthily obsessed with martial arts like I am and was. Don't ever take a snapshot of the moment, right? If at any point you feel like, man, this isn't paying the bills, or this, like, do it the smart way, but dig in and understand that nothing happens overnight. We hear the saying that we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in a decade. But until you actually put a long, long time into it, you don't see it. And like, I'm not just trying to like repeat platitudes everyone else has said. Like from a first person perspective, like Easton has, and the people within it they've helped me literally at points when I couldn't help myself. So I can't repay what Easton and the people within Easton have done for me, because even when I'm able, like whether it's financially or this or that, like maybe I'm able to now, but you don't need it, right? Easton did it for me when I didn't need it, or when I couldn't have done it for myself. So if it's something you're interested in, like a lifelong, like, or like a real career in martial arts, like turning a hobby and a passion into something that you can spend your time doing, you can't quit. You can't quit on the people. You have to sometimes sit in the mire. Like there's just a million reasons to not do it. And all of them are good reasons, but all of them lead you away from what you said you wanted in the first place.
And if Easton isn't the path for you, and like you want to do your own thing, that's part of it too. Like, man, like you don't have to do it the way we do it at Easton, but this is the way we do it. And if you don't like it, either try to make positive change you think need help on, or try to understand the why behind what we do things. I would just add that part in, because a lot of times it's a misunderstanding. And there's always an opportunity to speak up. Everybody has my phone number, email, my Voxer. So there's always a way to communicate, and just don't be shy about it. Well, Kyle, that was awesome. I appreciate your time, and yeah, let's figure out the rest. Have a great day, man.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. See you soon. Bye.